Caribbean is shocked right now and Americans, they're on fire. You're watching TimesXP and welcome to the special report of me, Driti Atri, on Trinidad and Tobago. So this small nation island finds itself in the eye of a storm. Why? Because just hours ago, the US forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, in a lightning-fast pre-dawn raid in Caracas. The world woke up to chaos. Sirens in Caracas, smoke over the city, Maduro and Flores reportedly asleep, all of a sudden in US custody. Hours later, they landed in New York to face the federal criminal charges. Trump's claim? Well, the US will temporarily run Venezuela until a political transition can be arranged. He called it Operation Absolute Resolve, basically over 150 aircrafts, 20 bases, all branches of the US military involved. Well, the strike lasted just over 2 hours with no US casualty at all. Trump added a chilling warning to this: we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to. Then comes TNT. Trinidad and Tobago's reaction, it was fast and careful. Their Prime Minister, Kamala Prasad Basesa, she released a statement early in the morning that Trinidad and Tobago is not a participant in any of these ongoing military operations. We maintain peaceful relationship with Venezuela. In fact, she emphasized that TNT's commitment to friendship with the Venezuelan people, again, people, not Maduro, and promised continued support as the country transitions from years of oppression and dictatorship. But you know what? The controversy is really boiling. In the meantime, their opposition leader, Penelope Beckel, slammed the US operation as deeply troubling, warning that it threatens Caribbean security. In fact, civil society groups called the raid imperialism and an international crime, announcing protests outside the Venezuelan embassy in Port of Spain. Now here's where it gets really murky. Is Trinidad and Tobago secretly involved? No, these are not my assumptions. So the US had been working with TNT for months on regional operations, right? November 2025, the US Marines trained with Trinidad and Tobago Defense Forces on counter-terrorism. Then comes November 27, 2025. Radar set up at Tobago Airport reportedly to monitor the Caribbean water. But here, the experts, they are kind of divided. There is one expert that warns that TNT should prepare for any fallout, hinting at potential indirect involvement. Another one says that TNT's hands, they are clean, no direct role in Maduro's capture. And in the meantime, Trump's message, it is loud, it is clear. Venezuela's oil, it is central. US companies are set to gain access to billions of dollars of energy resources. In the meantime, Delcy Rodriguez, Maduro's vice president, reportedly spoke to their secretary, Marco Rubio, and indicated compliance, raising fear that the US is dictating the country's future. Opposition figures, they were dismissed by Trump as unlikely leaders. Can you imagine that? Regional leaders, they are walking a tightrope. CARICOM met urgently, calling the situation grave concern. In the meantime, Barbados Prime Minister Mia, she stressed alignment with CARICOM's collective decision. TNT faces both internal and external pressure. Public protests at home, the US asserting dominance in its backyard. Timeline, it shows the build-up here. August 2025, US Naval Strike Group moves into Southern Caribbean. November 2025, Operation Southern Spare escalates, radar and training with TNT conducted. December 2025, US seizes Venezuelan crude tanker, and January 3rd, 2026, Maduro captured in Caracas. Now this suggests months of planning and regional coordination, leaving analysts to ask the controversial question here: was Trinidad and Tobago silently assisting the US or just a passive observer here? In the end, let me explain it to you. Trinidad and Tobago's proximity to Venezuela and past cooperation with the US military on the regional security and counter-narcotics raises a lot of eyebrows. Radar stations and joint training, it could have provided crucial monitoring capabilities here. Well, the government denies the direct involvement here, but opposition and civil society, they accuse TNT of complicit by association, even if it is not official. In the end, TNT may have been a silent partner or at least a key strategic observer without public acknowledgement at all. The stakes are enormous. The US now controls Maduro's fate. Venezuelan oil and political transition. The Caribbean watches nervously, fearful of being dragged into the conflict now. Regional stability, trade, and tourism, they are already affected. So, TNT is caught in a high stakes geopolitical storm. The US operation in Caracas has shattered the normal rules of diplomacy here. Maduro is gone, the world is watching, and TNT's role, officially denied, it remains under intense scrutiny.